All right, so we are up and going. I'm here with Dr. Adonis. Dr. Adonis, would you quickly introduce yourself really quick? What kind of doctor are you? Where are you located?
Hi, my name's Dr. Adonis Alejandro. I'm located in South Jersey, outside the Atlantic City area, and I am a chiropractor.
Awesome. How many years have you been in practice for?
I've been in practice for roughly 23 years.
Okay. And in the last few weeks of working together, can you tell me, what is a one sentence result statement?
I can honestly say in only 2.5, 3 weeks that you helped us raise our production by about 35 to 40%. Um, our visits went from 65 to 70 visits a week to currently 94 to 105 visits a week.
Incredible. Incredible. And what was the monthly cash pay revenue before we got started?
So the monthly cash pay revenue was between 5,500 and 6,000 a month. And in only 2.5, 3 weeks, we are currently at 7,000.
And we're only about 2 weeks into October, so I think we have a real shot at doubling the business this month.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And how big was your patient list? What is the size of your patient list?
My patient list was 2,500 people.
2,500 people. Awesome. Before we got started, what was revenue reactivated from past patients?
Revenue reactivated. We were averaging roughly about 5 to 9 reactivations, which would roughly amount to probably anywhere from 2 to 3,000 a month.
Okay. What was like the rock bottom or like the most frustrating moment before we got started?
Um, the rock bottom moment was from before we were doing Facebook ads, and there came a time last fall, I think I told you, especially when the election, towards the end of the summer, and when the election was peaking out, where our cost per ad, was up to the 65, $67 per person closed, which in prior years we had it lower to like 20 to 30, which was acceptable. So we were getting to the point where we were getting like one or two new people a month, which, that's why I had to shut down our Facebook social media, marketing.
100%. What did you hate doing, around the clinic and wish you could have stopped, before we got started?
What did I hate doing? My biggest thing was when we were doing our Facebook ads, we were trying to create a lot of content. We were thinking that we were trying to switch our ads around and just try to have a lot of bulk volume content out there to create a footprint, which was extra work on my staff and I, between planning and making it and stuff like that. So that was really frustrating when we weren't getting any return on our investment, or very little.
Mm. Okay. And what concerns or maybe doubts did you have before joining the program?
What concerns or doubts? Well, this wasn't my first rodeo on, taking an outside vendor to handle my marketing. Um, and truthfully, like 80% of them didn't really, weren't able to, follow through what they promised. So I felt like I was just like flushing more money down the toilet with marketing. So that was my biggest concern, that, me paying out, you know, 15 to $3,000 a month just to get like 3 patients a month, which I could do by myself, um, without having an extra, money outlay.
Yeah. And in the last 3 weeks with us, how would you say that maybe have changed?
So in the last 3 weeks, it was like when very comparable to like when we first started marketing, back in 18 or 19 with social media. Like People were just scheduling themselves and showing up. That was the biggest thing, because sometimes, a lot of times, you do Facebook marketing or social media marketing, and they'll schedule but don't show up. And the biggest contrast from before, the way I did things, is not only did they show up, but it was very effortless in closing them. I really like your structure and how you help coach me create a matrix or a process. So it's like selling without selling. Like the patients naturally, want to buy, and then they also are referring. So that's what we're starting to see. Like this morning, when I was working on a patient who just signed up last week, she had to come in with her mom. She was an athlete, and naturally, her mom, without even me asking, asked if I had any open spots available. And then last night, when I was getting my haircut by my barber, he told me that he heard about, through the grapevine, because we're in a small beach town, about the new services, and he tried to book but couldn't, and was trying to, like, see if I could, put him in myself and whatnot. So um, that was it's a very effortless process, which I really enjoyed. And it allows me just to focus on helping people and just doing the clinical doctor side, which, uh, is why I signed up for all this, to help people.
100%. And what would you say is the reactivated revenue to date in time frame?
Yeah, I think we just went over it. So basically, reacting revenue to date, not counting this week, is $7,000. But I do preface, I didn't get a chance to tell you this. That doesn't even count some of the people who are even using their insurance, that, new patients I got. And then we also, I think I closed three people who did after they did their intro packages, re-upped on, their main package, their core packages, which are higher value than the initial intro package. But I just don't have those numbers yet.
Rocking, music to my ears. What would you say is like the best moment since starting?
I think the best moment is I can, like, I can focus on just being the doctor and not having to worry about content. And I was literally just seeing one of my competitors. They're pushing out a lot of content, and I was kind of like laughing because, it was in the morning while I was having my coffee. I'm just focusing on being a doctor. You know what I mean? And instead of trying to figure out, which reel to put out, or what condition to push out, I'm focusing more on how to get, like, for instance, one of my football players back to play. You know what I mean? I'm more worried about, like, the doctor stuff, which is, I think, a lot of times, the reason why we get into this stuff, that's what gives us much joy, is being a doctor and doing the doctoring versus being the marketer, or what have you. So that gives me much joy, and it seems like it's like the, early 2010s and stuff like that, where it was like when everyone was new to social media and just everyone started talking, and there was a buzz. There's definitely a buzz. And I bump into people all the time, and we're not even doing outside marketing. It's just people talking. I always thought that if I could just figure out a way to just be the best doctor I can be, everything else will be, would take care of itself. And, like, it's like I was back in like when I first got into practice. I'm just, focusing on the passion of helping people and being like the best doctor I could be.
Incredible. What can you do now that maybe you couldn't before?
Um, for me and for my staff and I, now we can focus now on improving our processes and getting more equipment, and upping our game. Um, and like I said before, my team now isn't focused so much on marketing. We're focusing on being the best team that can deliver the best service, which I think is going to give us a leg up. I mean, I already have patients who are telling me that you're like the biggest secret, local secret around here. You're like that restaurant who doesn't really have a sign, but there's a bunch of cars out front and there's a waiting list for like a month or so. And actually, we literally are on a waiting list. I think we just after we booked up, literally 2 days after you released the text or the promotion, we actually sold out in like 2 days, and we have a waiting list now. And right now, we're just getting to those people. And like I said, like my barber was trying to get in, and, try to like jump the line and stuff like that. So it makes work easier. I mean, like I said, I'm just focusing on being the best doc I can be, and my team is focusing on how we can do things better. So I think that those time and resources are very valuable, especially in this time and age where you're dealing with your competition and stuff. We're not even worried about you know client inflow. We're just worried about being better.
100%. I know when we first talked, there was maybe some resistance and friction around the idea of getting the clinic back to speed, right? There was a lot of things we felt like we could be doing better. And then we kind of had this, belief that the patients weren't really going to come back, and we just didn't have enough people on the books. How does it feel now knowing there's more demand than there is supply, that you literally can't service the amount of people who want to come in and see you? How does that feel for you as a provider and the owner of this business?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like we talked about because of my personal situation, like the practice was winding down, and I was very because of every my prior experiences with other vendors. I was kind of hesitant, with what you're saying, um, what the expectations were. But then it's like literally within like 3 or 4 days of you starting the campaign, people were just coming in, and the best thing about it, it's just like so natural. Like you're just like people are showing up, they're excited and eager. The type of people who are coming in want to get better, and they're very proactive. One like the football player I was taking care of this morning, his mom was saying that which is really cool because he's only like 13 years old. He's getting up 5 o'clock in the morning to do his homework. I give out homework for my care, and he's excited about getting back to play, which it's not like I don't have to sell. Like I don't have to convince anybody. It's just direct. The your format or your process naturally filters out the people who don't want to get better, and the people that do show up are excited and motivated, and they're open. And I guess that's contribute to like they already had a prior experience with me, and it like I said, it's just totally, the process is so easy, and I just have to just be the best doctor I can be.
Amazing. What would you tell your past? What would you tell past you on day one?
I wish I would have done this sooner. Yeah, I wish I had access to you last year when I was going through all the Facebook challenges with the campaign and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Last two question here for you. Who to whoever's listening, right? Who do you think this is going to be perfect for? What kind of clinic type? What is the situation that they're in?
Um, I think the best type is probably going to be, like you said, someone who had like what we when we initially started talking, someone who already has like a client list. I think that makes uh, gaining momentum a lot easier because people already have had an experience with you. And the cool part is from there, what I've seen is because I think we talked about like on average, every person who signs up usually refers like 2 people. Well, we've doubled that, so I'm like every person who signed up is actually referring like 3 to 4 people. I have this one patient who, after he signed up his son, signed up his cousin, and his cousin brought in literally his whole family, like two girls, his two daughters, and his son, which is the football player who's trying to get back, and then his wife, who was the first time bringing one of the daughters in, is signing up. Another patient came in and immediately brought her fiance in, and it would like he was being a little bit aggressive to try to get in with her because they want to start at the same time to kind of have it, be accountability partners. So it's kind of like the opposite. Like, how my immediate concerns was like, okay, are these people actually going to show up and are they going to be qualified clients? It's the opposite. The people are like trying to, push their way in, like jump the line. Like I said, jump the line. And my one patient's fiance kind of jumped the line because they insisted that they come in together and stuff. So we had to open up like an hour so we could start them both up. And they're you know they're highly motivated. That's why they wanted to come in together. So it's great. I mean, it's so easy. Like I said, it's like practicing back in the 2000s when I first graduated, because I had the passion and stuff like that. Like, taking care of the patients is the easy part.